Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. So I wanted to start by asking you guys a question. What if there was a way for you to have anything that you wanted in life? And what if in the next 10 minutes you discovered what's been holding you back this entire time? In these next few minutes, I'm going to guide you towards clarity that you will need to take actionable steps towards reaching your goals and dreams by sharing with you some of the principles and philosophies that have allowed me to overcome certain challenges in life and succeed. I remember not long ago sitting in my living room, and I was watching a fly that was desperately trying to get out of my house, and it would continue flying around the living room, and it would continue flying into the window that was right beside me. And it's almost as if this fly thought that if it just tried hard enough, it could break through and escape. Now, just to see what would happen, I got up and I opened the door right beside it, and I continued to observe how this fly would continue circling around the living room and crashing repeatedly into the window. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I think this fly has a concussion. But you see, after a while, I could see that this fly was just stuck in a loop. In other words, a loop that would ultimately cause it to burn out and die on that very windowsill. And I remembered, and I realized, I remember realizing right then and there that there's so many of us that are just like that little fly, stuck in a loop. In other words, a pattern of thinking that will eventually cause us to burn out and kill our hopes and dreams. When I was younger and I was trying to provide for my family, income was a major concern for me. And growing up, all I would see was how hard my parents used to work. So I would equate success with working hard, even if that meant working 16-hour days, doing everything by myself, burning out daily. I mean, that's all I knew. So one day, I remember hearing some great advice that shifted my perspective on income. What we get paid is not determined by how hard we work. It is determined by the value we bring to the marketplace. You see, some of us want to double our income. Some of us want a bigger home, better car, better relationships, but refuse to become the person that it takes to deserve it. But you see, more of the same actions are only going to give us more of the same results. So we cannot allow ourselves to become so dead set and diluted in our ways that our ability to adjust become impaired. What we choose to work hard on makes all the difference. You see, some of us have been running a marathon on a treadmill, going nowhere fast. You see, it was Winston Churchill that said, no matter how beautiful the strategy, take a moment to look at the results. So what results are you getting out of life right now? It's a powerful question. Now, here's the interesting thing with most great advice. Small percentage of people will hear this and make a change, and their life will change as a result. But the majority of people won't. Why? You see, I've come to understand that most of us are hesitant to make any changes in life because we are afraid of the uncertainty that follows. Even though I didn't realize it, fear controlled much of my decision-making in life and business. And ultimately, it cost me in more ways than one. You see, about 10 years ago, I had started a dry cleaner. And I remember going to work 6 a.m. through 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and running almost all of the entire operations of this business on my own. And after a couple of months into it, my wife told me she was pregnant again. And at the time we were trying to move into this new home. So after working on weekends, I would go do construction at this new house. And at the end of the day, I would get home around 11 or 12, sometimes physically and mental, sometimes even later, physically and mentally exhausted. There was no balance in my life. I was not taking care of myself. I neglected my spirituality. I was not there for my family the way that I should have been. And eventually, fast forward a little later, my wife had to go on maternity leave. So out of necessity, I was forced to pick up a 9-to-5 again, working as a property manager. So my life basically became this loop of me working a 9-to-5, tending to my business after work, and then going to do construction in this soon-to-be home. Even though it was stressful, I was still happy. And I was happy because I felt like I was working towards giving my family the life that I felt they deserved. One day, I went to visit my wife at her new job to have lunch. And as we sat down to eat, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and she said, "Jonathan, I want a divorce." My heart sank. After all of the sacrifices that I had done for my family, 10 years and 3 kids. Shortly after my divorce, I lost my business. I lost my friends that I thought were my friends. I lost my will to keep fighting. And I remember sinking into a deep depression. And I considered myself a massive failure. I remember feeling as if life and the things that happened to us had no meaning or purpose. How many of us can relate to that? Type a 1 below if you have ever been there. But you see, I've come to realize that God permits certain things to happen to us because he has a greater purpose for us than the one we see. And he has a curious way of letting us know when it's time to make a change. You see, it wasn't until my roof literally collapsed, not once, but twice due to leaks. And I lost most of my belongings. And I was having to ask my mother for help so that I can pay for bills and keep food on my table, knowing that she was also struggling financially, on the verge of losing her home, and knowing that I couldn't even pay her back. Being a single father of 3 and going through that experience was painful, but it sparked something in me. And I resolved right then and there that I would never subject myself or my family to those conditions again. I remember, to distract myself from the pain that I was going through, I would party, I'd drink, and my life, whenever my kids weren't there, that's what my life consisted of. But you see, I hadn't paid attention to the strategy that had gotten me there. One day I heard Jim Rohn say something that changed my life. He said, "You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are." Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you truly understand that the only thing stopping you from having a better outcome in life is yourself, it's like seeing life in color for the first time after you've only known it as black and white. That's what it was like for me. Honestly, you can't go back from that. So I want to ask you something now. What is it that you really want out of life? Your business, your career. What does that perfect outcome look like for you? I want you to think about it now. Are you thinking about it? Okay. Go after that. Write down what I'm about to share with you now. These are the same principles that I used to turn my life around. And I believe that if you choose to apply them yourself, they will do the same for you. If you're uncertain where to start by writing down the goal and be specific about it. Set the date you wish to accomplish it by. Make a habit of reviewing these goals multiple times a day. Next, you want to make a habit of imagining or visualizing that outcome or desire every single day as well. So it's a known fact that our subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what we see and what we imagine. So it cannot distinguish between what we imagine and what we see in reality. And the other thing is that humans have a need to be consistent. We have a need to be consistent with how we are perceived and how we perceive ourselves. So when we implant that mental imagery in our mind, your subconscious will pick up on the fact that this is something that is you. It is part of your being. It is important to you. So you will draw it out and you will attract it because it is consistent with who you are. You see, one of the greatest thinkers of our time, Albert Einstein, said, imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions. Thoughts become things. This applies to both positive and negative things. So do not occupy your mind with pessimism or the concerns of how things are going to happen. Leave that to a higher power. You see, fear will only cause us to hesitate. So understand that to walk on this path, you must move on faith. Faith that things will work out in your favor. And here's the thing that I learned from Bob Proctor, which I wanted to share. Here's the thing about both faith and fear is that they both require that you believe in an outcome that you cannot see. So why choose fear when you can choose faith? And that reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite books. Just like the body without spirit is dead, faith without work is dead. So take action. Take action and go after what you want today. Not next week, not in a few months, not when the time is perfect. It's never going to come. The law of diminishing intent will kick in, and the odds of you actually going after your dreams will decrease significantly over time. How many of us wanted to accomplish something great, but we never did because we never got around to it? Type a 1 if you have, or say yes. Friends, I'm not here to tell you that success is easy, because it is not. Success is hard. You have to be persistent. But you know what else is hard? Being broke is hard. Rock bottom is hard. Not getting what you want out of life is hard. Choose your hard. So write this down. If you want to reach new heights in life or business, Make sure that personal development is at the forefront of those efforts, because truth be told, the best investments I ever made in my life were those that I made in myself. Learn to work harder on your mind than your job, because you cannot get paid like a CEO when you think and act like an assistant. Here's some more valuable advice I'd like to share with you. Surround yourself with what Les Brown calls OQP, only quality people. Tony Robbins also says proximity is power. So surround yourself with the people you want to become like. My grandmother, as a kid, my grandmother used to tell me, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. God, that was so true. Friends, if your current circle isn't talking about your goals or developing good habits, encouraging each other to succeed, you are not in a circle. You are in a cage. So upgrade your peer group and surround yourselves with the people that you want to be like. Friends, I'm here to tell you, if you are tired of the situation that you are in, it is possible to change your life. And it is possible to do it as early as today, but you must take action now. You see, all you need to do is set the destination and begin the journey today. You see, the hardest step in any journey is always the first one. But once you muster the strength to overcome inertia, every step thereafter is called momentum. And momentum gives us the strength to break free from that loop that we've fallen into, or that program, gives us the strength to break through obstacles. Ladies and gentlemen, time does not tolerate indecision, so learn to act now with definite plans and purpose, and you will achieve heights you never thought possible. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Jonathan Nieto. Feel free to visit our website at Real Marketing Strategies. We're offering a free strategy session for business owners if you are looking to grow your business. I am so happy to serve you today. It's been a pleasure. To all of you looking to live life on your terms and succeed, Godspeed.